This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Obadiah, verse 3, because there's only one chapter, all right, or one book, which is one of the most powerful books in the Bible, because the book of Obadiah tells the judgment of Esau, Edom, which are these so-called white people today, okay? And of course, the main judgment is America, Babylon the Great. And that's why I brought out the book of Obadiah, verse 3. Because the Pentagon, all right, is now crying out over the new Netflix movie, House of Dynamite. Now, if you haven't seen it, brothers and sisters, don't watch this video because there's going to be some spoiler alerts. But please watch this video, though. Like, please watch this film. Please watch this movie. Whatever you're doing, it's a spiritual movie. It's an intense movie. It keeps you drawn in, all right? That's, you know, if you haven't watched it, watch it. This film is, the depiction of it is, I would say, just being in the military, okay, and reading the documentation of what the military would do in the event of a nuclear missile heading towards America. It's pretty accurate, okay? And so I recommend watching it, all right? And it goes to show you, man, the prophecies are speaking, okay? And the Lord's putting a spirit even on these heathens to make these films, all right? Because there's going to be no excuses, all right? No one's going to be able to hide from the judgment, okay? You know what? The scripture reminds me of this. Amos, chapter 5. Yeah, Amos chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it to you? Is it for you, right? You got a lot of these wacky tacky plantation Christians, getting ready for baby Jesus or Jesus to deliver them, but they don't understand that. First of all, that's not his name. All right, the Messiah is a Hebrew, and he's only coming to deliver his elect from the nation of Israel, which are his people, okay, from the destruction, from the nuclear destruction, okay? You want it, I'll make it simple. You plantation Christians talking about a rapture. Yeah, the rapture comes, okay, when the destruction comes, all right? When that nuclear weapon, all right, those nuclear weapons get deployed, mainly to America. That's when the rapture comes for the elect. Because what is the word rapture? Okay? Let's get some words here. Lessons with the rapture meaning. Because this is the real rapture for the elect. All right? It means what? right? Rapture, a future event. Caught up. That's the word. Caught up. Okay? That's in what's it called? What is it? First Thessalonians 5, and is it 17? No, First Thessalonians 4. Excuse me, 4 and 17. My bad. Yep. First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first, right? Those that died in the truth, all right? And they have to be an Israelite, okay? That died in the truth. They have to be an Israelite. That is a fact, all right? 17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up. Now, when you go into this word caught up, check this out. All right. It's harpazo, okay, which means to seize, carry off by force, right? To snatch out or away, right? This is the rapture that you're referring to, okay? Catch, away up, pluck, pull, take by force, right? The root word is hairo, which means to take for oneself, to prefer, to choose by vote, elect, choose, right? Many are called, but few are chosen. Who are chosen? The elect. That's why it's very important to get into words. So this is your so-called rapture, all right? How you like them apples? The elect are going to get beamed up, okay, and the elect have to be from the nation of Israel. That is a fact. You have to be from the nation of Israel in order to have a shot at deliverance from the coming nuclear destruction. Okay, that the Pentagon is decrying or crying out because they didn't like that the movie depicted how weak America's anti-missile defense system is. Because in the film, spoiler alert, all right, the GBI, which is known as Ground-Based Interceptor, all right, America's anti-missile defense system, failed, all right? And it was heading to Chicago. So pray for the brothers in Chicago, because I don't understand. I do understand, all right? I'm just speaking rhetorically. You know, Chicago's always in films of devastation. It's over and over and over again. So many films talking about Chicago, Illinois. Always devastation. There's always a problem in the films. Okay? So, you know, pray for the brothers and sisters out there in Illinois, Chicago. All right? That's why the Lord has a heavy spirit on them brothers, man. Okay? Because the Lord's building them up. I just speaking, okay, just from what I'm seeing. Because you know how Esau throws shit in the films. All right, it was Chicago that was the target. Spoiler, okay? And you know what? Let me just show you something here. Maybe Esau. How many movies show Chicago in ruins or chaos? Let's go to deep dive. All right, look at that. Look at all these films. Okay? Chicago, House of Dynamite, Transformers, an Alien Invasion, right? Wasteland, Chicago, Rampage, Divergent series. Okay? iRobot, Contagion was in Chicago. In old Chicago, beginning of the end, giant radioactive grasshopper caused havoc by attacking the city. Chain reaction. An explosion from a hydrogen reactor wipes out several city blocks. Yeah, this is with Keanu Reeves. That chain reaction. Okay? Why is pop culture obsessed with destroying Chicago? Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Man of Steel. I'm telling you, okay? Like I said, I'm very cynical. Everything that I see, I look at things with negativity, okay? What is cynical? What is cynical? All right, cynical. believing that people are motivated purely by self-interest, distrustful of human sincerity or integrity. All right, there you go. Concerned only with one's own interests and typically disregard accepted or appropriate standards in order to achieve them. Right. There you go. Believing that people are motivated purely by self-interest. Right, and that's the elites. And they have to throw stuff in their movies all the time. All right, for their self-interest. Distrustful of human sincerity or integrity. Right, I don't trust these people. All right, I don't trust Hollywood. I always I when I watch, well, I'll give you a little background of me. All right, after I got out the military, I went to film school for 2 years at the Art Institute of New York. All right, and I learned a lot about how films are made, and the Wadi Al Bashim Al Shai for showing me, because a lot of the things that they put in the film are done on purpose. Nothing is put by accident. Okay, all the way down to a cup. All right, a table is put there for a reasoning. All right. So again, I didn't want to go off on a tangent, but we are not ignorant to Satan's devices. Let me get that. And then I'm going to go back to Amos. Because the destruction, okay, is coming, man. All right. Satan's devices. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Right. Okay. And when you watch Hollywood movies, yeah, there's times when you just want to watch for entertainment. But if you call yourself a man of the Lord, all right, you have to understand that Hollywood is a CIA institution. The CIA uses Hollywood to push propaganda, push particular, all right, messages, innuendos, time and time again. And that's why Chicago has always been on their agenda in terms of always pushing destruction, chaos, mayhem, always problems. Chicago always has a problem, okay, in all these films. So let's go back to Amos chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Right. And that's to you wacky tacky plantation Christians. All right. Because the destruction is coming, man. 19. And there's no escaping it. All right. All you jokers in the Pentagon. All right. You can build all the bunkers. Well, you did build the bunkers, but you could build more bunkers. All right. All right. Or fortify and reinforce the bunkers that you already have. All right, like what's it called? Raven Rock, which they put in the film, which is an actual bunker complex. All right, where the U.S. military has built. All right, in the event of a nuclear event, a nuclear strike. All right, this was built early in the 1950s. All right, it's the construction. Why were they building it in the early 1950s? What was going on in that time period? Nuclear testing between America and Russia. Okay? You don't think the Bible talks about nuclear war and a nuclear attack? Of course it does. All right? Of course it's not going to say nuclear. It's not going to say ICBM because those are modern words. All right? So Raven Rock. Look into this. All right, just like they have Cheyenne Mountain, which is a fortress, and I used to live in Colorado Springs. All right, I used to do physical training in Fort Carson, Colorado, right near the Cheyenne Mountain, NORAD mountain. You see it. It's a rock. It's a big mountain, and okay, and it's a fortress. It holds about I've told you, maybe it was like between 50 to 100,000, probably more now. Like, well, let me see something here. How many personnel does Cheyenne Mountain hold? Oh, this is bullshit. This is fake news. Nope. How many? Military personnel. That's fake news, man. Because they've been building Cheyenne, that Cheyenne Mountain. Yeah, there it is. Would it possible to construct a city for 25,000 people? Right. Um, as many as 5,000. That's what they're saying. I know it was more than that. This is bullshit. AI overview. You better be bullshit sometimes. Yeah, because I saw one article said about like between 50 to 100,000. All right, and this mountain goes for miles. Okay, in terms of once you get in, you go deep underground for miles and miles and miles. All right, so yeah, that's it. Esau likes to mess with the numbers. He's a hater. Anyway, so back to this scripture one more time. Amos chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. 19. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Right. So there's no escaping the Lord's judgment. Okay. 20. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? You see that? Okay. All right. So the only ones that are going to be delivered from the Lord's coming judgment are the elect. That's why, again, back to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up, all right? I mean, taken, all right? Seized, all right? This is your so-called rapture, together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Right. What does it mean, meet the Lord in the air? It means to be in the chambers, the so-called UFO. Okay, let's get that scripture. All right, this is coming, man. All we're waiting on is the RFID chip, the mark of the beast, which is literally knocking at the door. I found some juicy information, which, Lord willing, if I have time today, all right, I'll do another lesson, Lord willing. The Lord, I just gotta find just another piece to it because I want to make it plain. All right, but unless I get tired and fall asleep, that's what I meant. If I have time, because there's times I'd just be exhausted and I'm just like, you just get tired, man. We got to get out of these bodies. We're truly being beaten by this devil, man. In terms of being being over here in Babylon in this captivity. Working us to death. And then, of course, fighting this flesh, this sinful body. So, yeah, we got to get up out of here. But it's looking great, man. The Lord's shortening the times. We're almost out of here, brothers and sisters. Let's hold on. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20. Come, my people, enter down into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. You see that? That's talking about the chariots, so-called UFO. Which the government admits they're real. The Pentagon admits they're real. All right? 21. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, and the earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Right. So that pride of yours, Pentagon, is off, man. The Lord said he's coming, all right, to destroy, all right, because of the iniquity. Okay, so you're not going to be able to stop these nukes, all right, and the Lord himself when it comes to these chariots. All right, with the laser beam, because he's coming in with these chariots. All right, but this is prideful. That's why, again, Obadiah 1 and 3, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee. Right, you've been deceived. You think that you could stop nukes, a bullet against a bullet. All right, nasty work, but it's all right though. It has to, because the prophecy has to come to pass. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right. This is talking about these Edomites, these so-called white people. Start amongst the elites, all right, the international bankers, the elites of the military, okay, these high-ranking military officers um, that work hand in hand with the international bankers and as well as the Jesuit order, the priesthood. Yeah, man, they really think they can't be brought down, even though all we have to do is bring to remembrance your weak iron dome over there in the statehood of the JJs. All right, who provided that technology to the statehood of the JJs? You guys did, right? America. And Iran was able to penetrate that iron dome. Okay, you weren't able to stop all those missiles that Iran was, and those were conventional. The nukes are 10 times worse. See, you niggas is too prideful, man. That's why the Lord's gonna humble you down. You the real niggas, man. Real talk. You niggas is prideful. All right, you got MSNBC. I'm a U.S. Senator. House of Dynamite exposes the brutal truth. The film dispels the comforting illusion that technology can shield us. That technology can shield us from a nuclear attack. Right? Okay. Oh, what's so crazy about this House of Dynamite? And again, I recommend watching it. Was that they didn't know where the missile was coming from because one of the satellites, all right, was down. All right. Just think about that. A satellite is down in terms of monitoring, all right, nuclear activity. And so by the time this missile was in orbit, they were like, yo, where the hell is it coming from? And they're like, where's the satellite, all right, to find out where this missile is coming from? And they're like, oh, the satellite was down. And then they're like, was it a cyber attack? Oh, we got to find out if it's a cyber attack. All right, and basically it put the president, which was played by the UK actor, the Jake UK actor, what's his name? Idris Elba, right? Idris Elba. All right, he plays the president, and he's basically looking stressed out because he has to make a decision to retaliate and who to retaliate. All right, even though they don't know who launched the missile. All right, Russia said they denied it. China said they denied it. Then they were like, well, was it North Korea? But they're like, North Korea can't have this type of they don't have this type of capability, which they do in real life. But yeah, it was interesting, man. All right, it goes to show how easily this place could be destroyed. All right, how easily. Okay, and so he had to make a decision. Chicago was already going to be destroyed, so he had to retaliate. And the lieutenant, was it a lieutenant colonel? I don't know, it was a lieutenant colonel. Yeah, I think it was a lieutenant colonel who was holding the briefcase, or what they call the football, right? It was basically a menu of areas to attack. Okay, and they basically told him, they broke it down to him as the president in three types of heat. If you were to heat your meat, do you want it well done, medium rare, okay, or bloody? And he had to choose. So yeah. So let me bring this out. 2nd Esdras chapter 8 verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Right. Many great miseries is coming, right, to you prideful people in America, especially you prideful officers in America that honestly think that America can't be touched with nuclear missiles. All right, that's pride. That's a prideful attitude to have. Okay, you should always be humble. A nuclear missile, all right, can devastate, especially, all right, when you've seen what happened during Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, nuclear missiles should humble anybody down, but these people are pride. They're prideful, man. It's nasty work. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Right. And again, the Lord called y'all out. All right. This is pertaining to Edom will be humbled. You see. All right. Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, And though thou set thy nest among the stars, right, with your space force and shooting rockets into space, and you have your other bug out bunker, the International Space Station. What did the Lord say? Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Right, so he's still going to bring you down, okay? All right, there's no escaping the Lord's wrath. And that's why when you touch us, the prophets, that's your ass, man. It's game on. That is your ass, you elites, all right? And all those that sold out to the elites. That is your ass. Once you touch the prophets, that is your ass, all right? Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to speak about this. There's a lot going on. Things are getting more spicier. Like the apostles and elders say, you miss a day, you miss a lot. It's very interesting that the Pentagon had to issue a statement from a film, you know? And that's how it goes to show you, man. They're even terrified, man. All right? They're trying their best to keep the illusion, but you can't, man. The cat's out of the bag, all right? Or the rabbit's out of the hat, all right? There's no stopping it. So, Lord willing, is us edifying. You can read this article. And again, I recommend, brothers and sisters, watch that film, watch that video, watch that movie. It is dope. It keeps you at the edge of your seat. You're just like, yo, it's like, it's very accurate, okay, in terms of America and how they basically are sitting ducks. And all they can do is just go to their bunkers, like the scriptures say they will. So with that, I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Radash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it there. Keep the faith. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostles, elders. We're almost out of here. To the fuses that are watching, keep studying. When you pray with your head covered. Shalom.